Welcome back to Enzo's World of Sports. Today, we're gonna be talking about McGregor and Poirier, and then most of the card and fights and stuff, except for the non-big ones that I haven't really heard about. Okay, so number one is McGregor.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce my dad again. Say hello.
Hello.
Also, we got his UFC card hanging behind us. I don't know if you can see it or not. But yeah, let's get into McGregor and Poirier.
All right. I don't even know who else is on his card. I know. All right, so I'm looking at the card that you wrote down. So we have McGregor, Poirier. We have Burns and Wonderboy. Gilbert Burns is fighting Wonderboy in this card.
I think Burns was on it. Who was Lee supposed to fight? Because I know Burns is on here.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to fight Wonderboy. Okay.
Well, then what happened to Lee? Who was he supposed to fight?
I think Lee hurt his rib, but I don't know who he was supposed to fight.
He could have been supposed to fight Wonderboy, and they switched him out.
Okay.
We don't know if it's happening or not. All I know is like Burns.
See, you should probably check that out first. We'll be right back.
So.
Okay, wait. So we're back. We have to clarify that. All right. So yes.
Burns is versus Wonderboy.
Yep, but hold on. I have to explain your notes first. We've got top of this list: McGregor versus Poirier, Burns versus Wonderboy, Ty versus Hardy, because we clearly don't know names. And then we have what looks like Omar, but I found out it's O'Malley, just spelled incorrectly.
No, it doesn't have an R. It has O'Malley.
I know, I'm telling you, it's just spelled horribly. It says O'Malley versus someone I have never heard of. Like, seriously?
I looked the guy up at least.
All right. So, we'll get to McGregor and Poirier last, okay? So, who do you want to talk about first on this crazy card?
I think we're going to go first. I think first we're going to do Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai. And I have a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is Jennifer Maia married to Damian Maia?
No. But Maia is like Smith in Brazil. There's like everybody's like a Smith up here in America.
What do you mean like a Smith?
Oh my gosh. It means there's a lot of Smiths here in America. It means like it's a common last name.
Oh.
And in Brazil, Maia is a common last name. Maybe she is, but I don't believe so.
Okay. So, we have Jessica Ai, who recently fought someone from strawweight. She came up, beat Jessica Andrade, then came up, fought Jessica Ai, won, and Jessica Ai lost to Shevchenko before that. And that was a brutal knockout. I don't think she could recover. I mean, she did recover, but I don't think she's coming back from that again.
Yeah, that was a bad one. She, who is it? Joanne Calderwood. She lost a few. She lost to Valentina, then she beat Vivian Araujo. Then she lost to Cynthia, lost to Joanne Calderwood. Jennifer Maia is no world beater either. Her last fight, oh, that's right, was Valentina. As well. I don't know. I guess this is a pick-em. I'm not sure why you want to talk about this one.
Because Jessica Ai, she's pretty good. She's like known in the UFC.
Okay. Well, she's known by getting murdered by Valentina.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Okay. So did you just want to actually talk about the fight, or just bring up the fact that she got murdered by Valentina Shevchenko?
Pretty much bring up the fact that she got murdered by Valentina.
Okay. So she's fighting. Who wins or not?
I think she loses to Maia.
Okay.
Easily.
Now that we have that out of the way. All right, who else do we have over here? We have O'Malley. So let's talk about O'Malley versus someone you've never heard of.
Who is this person I've never heard of? I don't know.
All right, let me actually look him up, because I've never heard of him either. Nobody's ever heard of this guy because he doesn't exist. He is fighting Chris Martino. Now, this is a little disappointing because O'Malley was supposed to fight Luis Smolka.
Oh.
Smolka pulled out just a couple of days ago, and then they had a bunch of people on the roster who wanted to fight O'Malley. And, I love O'Malley, but I'm a little disappointed. I don't know if it's the UFC that didn't bring him to O'Malley, or if O'Malley turned those fights down, or what. But he's fighting a newcomer who's 9-4, who he should beat up pretty easily. What do you think?
I think so, too. If he loses, that means like he's no good at all. Because he beat Wyland, but Wyland's getting old. He beat another newcomer who he fought last.
No, he fought, I think, Thomas Almeida last. Almeida's been around for a long time, but he had a long layoff.
Yeah, so he's been around for a long time. He's a little old. And then he fought Vera, lost, which is, he beat...
But he doesn't claim he lost. He still claims that he's undefeated, just so you know.
Well, yeah, but that's because he's wild. Have you seen his hair?
That's true.
So I feel like if he loses, then he gets cut because he's been fighting newcomers.
Who, O'Malley?
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not out of my mind.
He is not getting cut.
Here's
He is not getting cut.
Here's why
He is not
I think
getting
that.
cut.
I know Dana likes him. I know he's good. He's fast. He's young. And here's why I think he might get cut after this if he loses. Because he loses, that means he can't beat newcomers and he can't beat people who have been around for a while and have done what they have to do, starting to get older, like Marlon Vera. And he's getting...
Marlon Vera's like 28.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Still counts as being old.
I don't even know if he's 28. He might be 26. And Marlon Vera just won.
Yeah, but I feel like O'Malley could have finished that fight in the first round if he tried. But now that I see he lost to him, and now that I realize Wineland's old, and then if he loses to this guy, it means he's.
So you're jumping off the sugar train, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not.
But if he loses, you're jumping off.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think he's good. I think he has the speed. I think he has the power. He just needs to put it together, work hard, train hard, do his thing. Don't get dropped. Don't get caught. Don't get sloppy. And he wins by all means every fight. He gets sloppy. He loses every single fight.
Which is once. He lost once.
And he got sloppy that fight.
All right.
So the Wineland fight and knocked him out when he was not getting sloppy. He had his hands up and did good combos. All right?
I like Sean. I would have liked to see him take a step up. I would have liked to see him fight Smolka. I'm a little disappointed that he ended up, whether it was his doing or the UFC's doing, that he ended up fighting a newcomer, not like a 10-0, 12-0, 15-0, world beater, a guy who's 9-4. So I think Sean wins. I think he dismantles this guy. He better. This is a money fight for Sean. He's going to, he's showing up for a paycheck at this one. Because winning, he could beat this guy in 1 second. It's not going to move him up the rankings. But if he loses, it does a lot of negative for him. All right. So now we've got Tai Tuivasa. Forget how you say that. Versus
Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy.
And
who wins it?
I think Greg Hardy does.
I think you're nuts.
What?
I think
Hold
Tai
on, let
wins.
me explain.
Okay, but hold on. Do you know that Ty is the one that drinks the beer out of the shoe? After the fights, when there's fans, he would pour beer in somebody's shoe. He would take somebody's shoe off. Somebody would give him a shoe. He would pour a beer in it, and he would drink it out of the shoe. Does that make you change your mind at all?
No.
Okay, just curious.
So, I think Hardy wins because he's younger. He has power. Like, you saw what he did to this, who's the 26-year-old guy who was like a firefighter, not Miocic. He was like
I forget.
Anyway, he knocked him out easily, and he was doing well, beating people, fought Hardy, and just got knocked out cold.
I think Hardy's getting better.
But also, because Ty was in UFC 3, and everyone in UFC 3 besides, like O'Malley, Adesanya, who else? You got, like, Henry Cejudo, who he coached, and they're all pretty young, like 32 to 20 and stuff. But Ty is getting old.
I don't know how old he is. Anyway, I think heavyweights age doesn't matter as much.
Well, yeah,
I got Ty. I got Ty.
Why?
I think he's just a little bit better. I think he's, and I think if I'm correct, I thought he moved to America, AKA, which has produced, my gosh, probably more UFC champions than anybody on the planet. Javier Mendez and Bob Cook, Cain Velasquez, you got Khabib, you've got Luke Rockhold, you got...
the champ?
Yeah, he was a champion. And you have Daniel Cormier,
What?
all out of AKA. You got Josh Thompson out of AKA. World beaters, people. When I know all of those guys are at AKA, but I thought Ty would started doing camp at AKA. So anyway, if he is there, it's good for him. I'm going with the Kiwi. I don't know if he's New Zealand or Australia, but either way,
He's Australian.
I'm going with him. And then we got... See, Burns, you shocked me with the Burns one. We were actually trying to figure out who Wonderboy was fighting coming up. And that's a more interesting fight to me than Kevin Lee fighting Wonderboy, because I think Wonderboy would have starched Kevin Lee.
No, actually, Lee was supposed to fight Sean Brady. I just remembered.
Oh, okay. We're wrong on that. Anyway, Wonderboy, Gilbert Burns, super interesting.
I think Burns wins.
I think you're probably right. I think Wonderboy would have won if he was a little bit younger, but he got into MMA really late. I love his footwork. I love watching him fight. He's getting better by the day. I still think Burns wins this one. I think you're right on that.
I think so.
I think he probably, he's going to use his level changes and in his hands. The thing though, it's hard coming in on Wonderboy. You gotta find your way in because he moves so well. His karate's so good. His footwork is so good. So I think Burns is going to have to wrestle him a little bit early, or try to wrestle him early, and then start level changing and faking shots.
But not only that, I mean, like, wrestling is Burns' thing, and, like, he's good at striking. He beat Woodley, but he had Woodley in a choke for, like, ever in, was it round 2?
Yeah, I forget what it was. But
I don't know. He had him in the choke forever. He's beat a lot of people, was supposed to fight Usman, trained with Usman. And also, I feel like Wonderboy, he's so much of a karate and striker, he doesn't worry about wrestling. And then you go against Burns, who is just a wrestling machine, and takes down everyone he tries. Plus, if he wrestles and just holds them down, I think Wonderboy is just going to gas out trying to get on top, because Burns, I think he's also a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Brown belt, he's a black belt. He's like a multiple-time world champion black belt. He's like phenomenal at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think that because Wonderboy, I don't think is like, I think he's only like a purple belt or something like that. And you go against a black belt who also has good wrestling and everything, like him, and you're like, man, I don't think I'm ever getting out of this. I'll just like tap whenever he does something painful, and you lose. And then you have to go back down a few rankings and stuff, fight like upcomers. Then if you win those and you're still getting older, then you're back to
What
the
are you
top.
talking about? You're just rambling on now about like the life and career of fighters.
What will happen about Wonderboy if he loses?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, he's already at the end of his career. I think Burns wins it, but I think Wonderboy, I think out of all the fights out of all the close fights, this one, I think Burns wins, but it wouldn't shock me if Wonderboy could keep him at bay and do some kicking and do some cool stuff.
Yeah. Also, though, if you watch tape well to see if he's wrestling, he could have been working on wrestling and defend it, and then he has a kick wide open as soon as he gets up, and then boom.
And just boom, just like that. All right, last fight, McGregor-Poirier. I can't handle you rambling on about fighters' careers and rankings. You've been playing too much UFC career mode. Who do you got?
I want McGregor to win, but I think Poirier could do it.
Our producer back there, Lennox, who's manning the camera, disagrees. There's a cameo. Yeah, I think smart money would be on Poirier. It wouldn't, but if Conor goes out and actually fights, I was watching the Mendes fight earlier with Conor and Mendes. That was a beautiful performance. Yes, by Conor. Man, he went against a very, very, very solid wrestler, took Conor down, and Conor just had fight in him. He came out there, he used his teep kicks to the body, not only does it set the range, it wears on people's body. When Conor would kick, he was at his best. And if you looked at him early in his career all the way up through really his last few fights, he would kick and he used his feet and he used his footwork. And then he got a little happy with his left hand, started just putting people asleep, and he stopped kicking. And I think if he comes out, if the old Conor comes out and is using his feet and he's using his footwork, I think he's leagues better than Poirier. The reality, though, is do we see poor Conor trying to make his name, or do we see Conor with $100 million in his bank account and yachts and Rolls Royces show up? Because the Conor that shows up, that's like, I've got all the money in the world, I'm doing this for a paycheck, that dude is not going to beat Dustin Poirier. Poirier has grit, he has grit, and he will not quit. But Conor, and I don't think Conor back in the day would ever quit, but I think now, I just don't think he has that fight in him like he used to.
It's like Diego Sanchez.
No, Diego's crazy.
But no, let me finish. Diego wouldn't quit and stuff. And then he versus Michael Pereira, and he quits instead of keeps on fighting because he got tired. And then also.
And that was about DQ. I forget what the DQ was.
Illegal knee.
Was it an illegal knee? Yeah, but he took the easy way out of that fight.
Yeah, but when he was younger, he wouldn't do it.
No. Well,
and then McGregor, even he's getting old now. And then not only that, like he said, if he comes out, says I'm only coming in here for a paycheck and just doesn't try to fight, he loses. But even the last fight against Poirier, he was being nice and stuff instead of trash talking.
I know. You want to hear some trash talking McGregor, huh?
He's like, hey, good fight. I hope we fight again and stuff. Instead of being like, hey, I won that fight. Let's go again, and I'm gonna knock you out. So
he's been they've been at it a little bit this time.
They have.
So yeah, I think Conor can win this fight. I think Conor can win. I mean, he's got the tools. He's got the skills. If he comes out, uses his feet, and has hard. If he just comes out gutsy and just wants to win, then I think he can put Poirier out. I just don't think that we see that Conor show up. And I think Conor wins round 1. I think he might be winning round 2 as well. And then whether he goes to sleep in round 2 or not. But then I think if it goes past 2 rounds, I think this is Poirier's fight.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. That's it?
Mm-hmm. This has been Enzo's World of Sports. Adios.